Have you ever wanted to ask something on issues, etc., something you just have to get off your chest, and we've never responded to it in an episode? Well, you have a chance on the issues, etc. comment line. You can talk back in the comments section, and we might include your question in one of our upcoming episodes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy the show. Greetings and welcome back to Issues, etc. I'm Todd Wilken. Thanks for tuning us in. We're continuing our weekly series on all my favorite cartoon shows and what we can learn from them. This week, we'll be taking a look at the show Sesame Street, one of my absolute favorites, such a classic. Joining us today to talk about Sesame Street is, get this, a woman. But she's not a feminist, and she's a darn good reporter, if I do say so myself. Can you guess who it might be? Guess. Got your guess in your head? Yep, you got it. It's executive editor of The Federalist, Joy Pullman. Joy, it's always a joy to have you on. Welcome back.
Thanks, Todd. Was that a play on words on my name, Joy? Because I hate it when people make puns out of my name.
By golly, it was. Did it bring you joy?
First time funny, second time stupid. Todd, knock it off.
Okay, I'll stop. Sorry, I was just enjoying myself too much.
Todd, I will walk out of this interview.
All right, I'm done for real. On to the interview. Joy, my first question concerning Sesame Street is this. Is Big Bird a man or a woman bird? Because they say he in the show, but he has a rather effeminate voice. Do you have any comments on this?
Well, it's kind of obvious, Todd.
Not that I'm confused about it now. I'm saying, like, it's confusing for a child. I obviously know now which one it is.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious. He's a he. The far left-winged feminists and woke militant Democrats might say otherwise, but don't let it get to you. Big Bird is a boy. He only sounds effeminate because canonically he's actually quite young, despite his characteristic size. There was actually a study done on Democrat children in the early 1960s comparing them to Republican children of the same age, and the results were actually very telling. Those Democrat kids were significantly skewed towards seeing Big Bird as a girl bird instead of a boy bird, as opposed to the Republicans who recognized his actual gender the majority of the time.
So, of course, now we know that Big Bird is
He's a boy bird, Todd.
A boy bird, yeah.
Oh my, you didn't know, did you?
What's that? What did you say?
I
didn't what?
He's a boy bird.
What?
You didn't know? Todd, that's really embarrassing.
All right. Moving on. Joy, my second question is this. All things considered, Sesame Street is pretty realistic. There are even some people who are convinced that the monsters in Sesame Street are real. Now, this can be a fun thought, but also a scary thought. It would hypothetically be really fun to sing with Elmo, or, I don't know, say, talk theology with Bert and Ernie. But it might also be hypothetically scary if Snuffleupagus came up behind you at night with those big swinging eyes. What's your take on the theory, Joy? Do you think the monsters of Sesame Street are real?
Todd, only a woke liberal or a BLM would believe something so foolish. There was even a test taken with young children in the early 2000s, which tested their recognition of real and fake characters, and almost all of them passed the test. Most of them were able to tell that characters in shows were entirely fictional. So, if I believed that the monsters in Sesame Street were real, I'd be developmentally behind preschoolers and kindergartners. Todd, did you think...
Good. You passed the test. Of course they aren't real. Everyone knows that. Who would want to discuss premillennial dispensationalism with Ernie anyway?
Hopefully no one. Todd, this interview is getting a bit strange.
Okay. Joy, last question. Just setting aside Sesame Street for a second, a couple of weeks ago on the show, we were discussing My Little Pony. Now, there was a question there concerning the show and how much it might be liked by certain people, really anyone. So, for example, might it be acceptable for a normal guy, say a Lutheran pastor, or maybe a talk show host? Would it be acceptable for some random guy like that to enjoy My Little Pony? Because it really is quite an excellent show.
Todd, are you asking me if it's okay for you to like My Little Pony?
I mean, by extension, I suppose, but not like specifically, no.
I can't believe you dragged me in here for this. Sorry, Todd. I'm leaving. I did not come here to be asked weird questions about a puppet's gender or My Little Pony.
Sounds like you have a lot of joy in your heart.
Never mind. Goodbye.
Well, apparently that concludes our interview with Joy Pullman. I guess we know one person who doesn't like My Little Pony, besides me. Next week, we'll be taking a look at another cartoon show and what we can learn from it. Stay tuned.
Listen weekday afternoons to Pastor Todd Wilken and guests on Issues Etc. Issues Etc. is a listener-supported program.